Dub did it coming at you live and direct in your face. Haha. Just kidding. Anyways, guys, it's been a while since I dropped any content. Trust me, I got a lot of content ready and ready to be produced, but I've been working a lot. It's really killing that creative spirit in me. So my goal is to hopefully YouTube full time. If I can get enough viewers and subscribers, I can quit my little bullshit job and deliver content nonstop. Because I got a lot of shit in my head that I gotta get out. I lived a long life, I've been through a lot, and I want to share those experiences with everybody. It's kind of my take at immortality, or until YouTube shuts down. Anyways, guys, so today's topic is going to be the criminal procedure. What happens when we're faced with battling the law? Some of us might know, some of us might not know, some of us might be going through this shit right now, so hopefully the information that I present to you will help you guys along the line. Alright, so let's start out with the very beginning. Alright, who can guess what the first step is in the criminal procedure?
You go to trial?
Wrong. It's a 911 call. Alright, so a lot of the times, the way it starts off is you or whoever screws up in front of a witness. Alright, the witness ends up calling the laws, or the victim calls the laws.
Oh my
Police
god.
come. Alright, they make contact with you. Now, at this point, they either arrest you or they let you go. Now, if it's a complex matter, like, you're running some sort of criminal organization or selling dope, they investigate. They don't do anything right then and there. They want to build a case. So they might let you go, but shit, that don't mean you're out in the clear. Alright? So, during the investigation, this is when they do search warrants and wiretaps and all the snooping around that they do. Interviewing witnesses and all that. Building a case on you. Okay? A lot of the times, in this situation, in felony situations, is they'll take this information that they got and they'll present it to the grand jury. The grand jury will say, hey, yes, you got enough to proceed, or no, you don't. You know what I'm saying? And if they have enough to proceed, well, this is where things get a little stuck. Okay, so they got the green light. All right, they're going to tag you and bag you. So they issue the arrest warrant. Police or the sheriff or whoever, they go and they pick your ass up, take you to jail. Alright, so once you're in jail, they book you. They take your picture, your fingerprints, all that nonsense, and they let you sit there for a while. Alright, so after a couple days, they take you to the magistrate. And this is your first appearance. Your first, I don't know if you would consider this the arraignment. But what they do, though, at this first time is they take you in front of the judge. The judge reads off the crimes that you're being charged with. He sets the bond amount or the bail amount. And he asks you if you need a court-appointed attorney. You answer his questions, and you go back to your cell. Go back to the holding cell or whatever. And, you complete the process there in the jail, whether that's either getting bonded out or getting placed in housing until your day in court. If you're lucky enough to get out of jail, that's good. You know what I'm saying? That means you don't have that pressure of wanting to get things over and done with. You don't have that pressure to rush the process. Because what I've seen is, when people are sitting in jail, they're anxious for movement. They're anxious to get something done. So when they get faced with, a plea deal, they take it right away. Whether it's probation or, time served or, just a little bit more time, they jump on it because they want to get out of jail. So if you make it out of jail, you have that advantage. You can fight this thing all the way to the very end. But we'll get back to that in a little bit. Okay, so you've been in jail for a little while. They got their other cases to work on. Yours isn't going to be on the top of the list. But eventually, they will get to you. You'll be indicted. And then you'll have a formal arraignment. It's the second appearance. Okay, now what's different from this appearance is that this time, they're going to ask you whether you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest. And this is probably when you'll first meet up with your attorney. Okay, so before you go up to the judge, he'll pull you aside. By he, I mean your mom. Haha, just kidding, the attorney. And he'll go over the charges and what you're looking at. And he'll tell you more or less what he can do. Chances are the attorney hadn't even gone through your shit yet. Especially if he's a court-appointed lawyer. He don't know nothing about your case. This is the first time he's looking into it. So what he's going to tell you is
Alrighty, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna talk to the DA. I'm gonna see what we can work out, and you go ahead and sit tight for now. Appreciate your patience.
And what this basically means is he's gonna go home, he's gonna read a little bit into your case, and he's gonna try to get you the least amount of time as possible. The least amount of time as possible. It's fucked up. Now, if you have a real attorney, what's gonna happen is he's gonna, do some digging of his own. Because I guarantee you that's what the prosecution's gonna do. Hell, they're gonna question all the witnesses. They're gonna find the ones that are gonna help them make their case against you. Your court-appointed lawyer, he ain't gonna do that. He's not gonna try to get you off. He like I said, he wants to just get you the least amount of time as possible. You get you a paid attorney, shit, man, you'll be a lot better off. But anyways, guys, I'm going off topic. So anyways, after you're arraigned, right, you usually have a plea deadline. And this is the date set forth by, I don't know if the court set this up or the prosecutor set it up, but this is the deadline that you have to accept the plea set forth by the prosecutor. And if you take it, you skip going to court and you take your sentence. If not, well then, it's time to go to trial.
But Dub, when should we take a plea or when should we not take a plea, Dub? What's the difference?
You little son of a bitch, I'm trying to get to my coffee. But anyways, alright, I'll answer your goddamn question. Alright, so the only time that you should take a plea is if you know you're freaking guilty. If they got you dead of rights and your lawyer tells you they got you dead of rights, take the plea. Alright, but here's what it is, alright. Basically, with the plea deal, the judge is made aware of certain facts in regards to the crime. Alright, they might not hear the whole story. They're not going to be able to hear from victims' families, or none of that. I mean, they might, but not in a trial sense, okay? So the judge is basically going to get the basics of what happened. Alright. Now, because of that, the judge can sentence you based off of what people are normally charged with that specific crime and your criminal history and things like that. There's no standard punishment necessarily, but there's a chance that they might take it a little bit easier on you if they don't hear everything. You understand what I'm saying? Now, you got to remember, if you go to trial, alright, the judge is going to hear everything. The judge is going to see the pictures. The judge is going to hear from witnesses and victims that are going to describe in detail what happened. Alright, this may appall the judge. This may disgust the judge. This may enrage the judge. And this may cause the judge to hit you with the most severe penalty that they can hit you with. You understand what I'm saying? So, depending on, what happened, you might not want the judge to hear all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it might just be better to say, okay, I did it. Sign me up for what you're going to sign me up for. Alright? Now, if you're innocent, hell, man, take your right to have a fair trial. You know what I mean? So, in other words, don't let the prosecutor necessarily scare you into telling you, look, if you don't take this deal, you're going to get the maximum sentence possible. Because that wouldn't be fair. They can't necessarily penalize you for exercising your right to a trial. You know what I'm saying? That's against the dang Constitution. You can't do that. Now, they're letting you know, though, the judge is going to see all this shit, and the judge ain't going to be happy. So, that's completely up to you. It's a hard choice, you know what I'm saying? But, sometimes you got to pick and choose your battles. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's say you don't take the plea bargain, the plea deal, then what happens? Alright. So, when the actual trial's going to start, you have what's called the, a docket call. Alright, now this happens a few days before the actual trial. Now the docket comes up, and the docket call comes up, and, it's a courtroom full of people, defendants and their lawyers and their families and things like that. And the judge finally calls your name, so you and your lawyer get up. You go to the stand, and the prosecution goes up there as well. The lawyer speaks to them. He asks, is the prosecution ready? And the prosecution will say either yes or no, and they'll ask the defense, aka your lawyer, are you ready to proceed? And he'll say yes or no. And sometimes what happens at this point is the
court dates were set. Either the prosecution isn't ready to proceed or your lawyer isn't ready. And a lot of times, especially if you're not in jail, this is a good thing. This gives you time to be free, to get your affairs in order, or hell, gives you more time to work on your case. But anyways, if both parties are ready to proceed, then a few days later is the actual trial. This can take, a couple days, couple hours, months, whatever, just depending on how complex it is. And if you're found innocent, well, hell, you get a nice send-off, okay, sorry about that, have a good day. If you're guilty, the next step is the sentencing phase. Now, in minor infractions, like probation violations and little shit, sentence is usually given right then and there by the judge. But other crimes with more serious consequences have a separate hearing, if you will. Alright, now during this hearing, the prosecution attempts to paint you as the most horrible, low-down, dirty criminal this side of the Mississippi. Alright? And they want you locked away for as long as legally possible, and if they could, even longer. Now, the defense has the job to try to make you look like a good person who just made a few bad choices in life. Maybe you had a rough childhood, etc., etc., etc. You know what I mean? And in some other places, there's none of that. The judge alone determines the punishment, no matter what anybody has to say. But I think this is the case regardless. But anyways, before the judge announces the sentence, you are entitled to what's called an allocution. Allocution, hope I said that right. And what this means is you're given the right to address the judge directly. This is your one and only chance to beg for mercy, to show remorse, or give an excuse. And like I said, I don't believe anything anyone says at this point means anything. Think about it. Judges hear hundreds of cases throughout their career. And I believe they're jaded. So it's like everything that you say goes in one ear and out the other. But anyways, after you spill your heart out and give whatever excuses or explanations or whatever, the judge hands out the sentence. And you're gone. Gone off to prison or, whatever the case, probation, whatever the fuck. That is the end of the initial criminal procedure. Now, of course, there's always, the son of a bitch, what do they call that shit? The appeals, yeah. You can always appeal it and, hopefully get it overturned and all that. There's mistrials, and there's a whole bunch of other things that can happen after the initial sentence. But that's a topic for another day. So, let's go ahead and let's ask some questions from the audience. You, sir.
Can I go to the party?
Jesus. Turn